What is happening, Bairns? Welcome to In the KM, One South Standard's point of view on all things navy blue. As always, I am your host Ray. In today's video, we will be discussing the visit of Dunfermline to the Falkirk Stadium this Saturday, and we'll get pre-match thoughts and feelings and just get a general idea of how things are looking going into this match. First off, a couple of things I want to just cover off as well. The last video I done there, the reaction to our last game there, that was the first video I'd uploaded in about 10, 11 days or so. Really good overall reaction that I got for that. I really just wanted to take a minute to say a big thank you to those people who took the time out to comment and even just watch the video and like it and subscribe. If the subscriber count went up a wee bit as well, which was so greatly appreciated. Honestly, still can't believe people actually want to tune in and spend their day listening to me talking shite about a football team. Few of the comments as well, and this is something I absolutely love, by the way, and please more of this. I want so much more of this. People from far-flung places on the other side of the world. There was folk from like America and places like Mexico as well, all commenting as well and saying how much they enjoy watching the videos. So it's honestly, I'm so humbled. I'm blown away. But anybody that watches these videos that is overseas, please let me know in the comments. I want to hear about where you're watching for, what kind of mad time of the day you've got to get up to watch the games. I want to hear all of that. A couple of other things as well is just that we got some updates on like the AGM, for example. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this because the AGM was literally just on this evening at time of recording. It was only a couple of hours ago. I'm going to actually just do a video on the AGM itself because there's so much stuff that got covered in the 2 hours that the management and the boardroom and that were speaking with the shareholders. So a lot to get through. There is a Falkirk Herald article that kind of breaks down some of that, but if you are happy to do so and wait until I do a video, which will probably most likely be Sunday, and then upload that on Monday after the reaction video for Dunfermline, I'm more than happy to do that, and we'll have a wee conversation about it and what some of the main talking points mean. So on to the game itself with the visit of Dunfermline. So how did Dunfermline look going into this game? Are they in great form, or should we be nervous? How are we all feeling going into this? Well, in terms of the form, no, they're not really in good form. They are still pish. They're only 1 point ahead of Airdrie, who are just slightly more pish than what Dunfermline are. But all joking aside, I want to be respectful. I don't want to take the piss or that. But in terms of how they look going into this particular game, let me just bring up their form here. So the most recent game, they were at home to Morton and they played out a very stinky 0-0 draw. Before that, they'd beaten Kelty Hearts 2-1 in the cup there, in the Challenge Cup I should say. Respectable, I suppose. And then before that, drew 1 each with Airdrie away. Beating Airdrie away is no for everybody, is it? And then lost 2-1 at home to Queen's Park, and then before that 1-0 away to Partick Thistle. And then we've got to go all the way back to the 13th of September to not only find the last time Dunfermline won a match in the Championship, but interestingly enough as well, this was the last time that they were able to I was going to say that was actually the last time they were able to keep a clean sheet, but no, of course they kept on against Morton as well. But it's the last time that they've scored a goal and managed to keep the ball out of their net as well. And that was the game that was, of course, on the telly, the one where Murray got sent off early and they ended up winning 2-0. So in terms of what that means then, they might not have necessarily turned a corner as such, but a draw, a win, and then another draw in the last 3 games, that's a damn sight better than what it has been. I mean, right at the very start of the season, when we look back to when they were in the League Cup group stages and that, they went on a 6-game losing streak where they only managed to score 1 goal, and that was a 2-1 loss at home to Cove Rangers. Sorry, I said I was going to stay respectful. Right, That is fucking funny though. But aye, they're struggling at the moment. And I know that just from reading some articles, and because I do like keeping an eye on, and it's not like an obsession thing because there are rivals or that. I go on to articles when it's to do with Ayr or Partick Thistle or that, because I like to get a good idea of how their supporters are feeling going into these matches and get what the general vibe is. And I get the sense that the Par supporters are really no up for this one. I get supposedly that they're expecting no more than like 1,000 supporters to be there. Which, don't get me wrong, that's nothing to sniff at. I'll take 1,000 supporters. That's more navy blue pounds all day long. I'll take that. But historically, we've seen much bigger supports than this. Maybe when they were used to scudding us. But aye, it sounds as if a lot of them do fear the worst for Saturday, and it'll be really interesting to see how McPake lines them up, because you could make an argument, right, that they're no under a lot of pressure because most people are expecting them to lose this match, right? But at the same time, how much longer before this pish form starts putting McPake under a bit of pressure and questions start getting asked? I know there's a lot of nonsense going on at a boardroom level. There's a lot of instability at their club. So I think that McPake is maybe no getting all of that at the moment. But eventually, you can't. And we all get in this, right? You've just got to think back to the 18-19 season. We all ken this, that you can't just keep no winning games and be sitting ninth in the league and thinking that things are going to turn around. Eventually, you keep thinking like that, and before you know it, it's March and you're still bottom of the league or second bottom, and you're 5 points adrift. Eventually, they're going to need to ask big questions about what is going on at the club, because they've got to look at us as well. Surely we just got promoted, and look at how much better we are, and we're a supposed League One team. Well, they look every bit a League One team at the moment, and that's no me taking the piss or anything like that. Those are just facts. From their opening games, they've amassed 6 points. That's nowhere near good enough. Three draws and one win. That's pish. So in terms of how they go into this game, they've got a full clean bill of health as far as I'm aware. So they'll be able to pick from the strongest 11. Know that's been doing them a lot of favours of late. In terms of like standouts and things, when even I think of when we played them last up at their patch, their left back, I thought he was pretty impressive. What's his name? Etu? I forget his name, but he managed to keep Callum Morrison pretty quiet, and that's no mean feat. I thought he was decent. He was really the only one that really stood out for me. So in terms of head to heads, as you can, I like to always do the head to heads. Now, as I do more of these videos, I'm probably going to restrict the amount I'm doing this, because eventually you're just going to be hearing the same stats over and over. But I never done a video for when we went to East End Park, so we'll crack on. So here's an interesting statistic for you. Smudger mentioned this in his interview with the Falkirk Herald, so some of you might already ken this and might already be aware, but the last time we actually beat Dunfermline at our own patch was quite some time ago. And if I bring it up here, let me just double check this is the right match I'm looking at here. Aye. So the last time that we beat them in any competition at home was on, let me just double check here. Aye, that is the right one. So that was on the 7th of October 2017, where we beat them 2-0 in the Challenge Cup. And in case anybody that's got shite memories like me can't remember much about that game, Balatoni scored within the first 20 minutes, made it 1-0, and then Hippolyte scored just around the hour mark, and Dean Shields got sent off right at the very end of the game. That is the last time that we tasted victory at home to Dunfermline. And here's an interesting one for you as well. When I was looking at the stats for this, and I wonder how many of you knew this or realised this, when we beat Dunfermline 2-0 away at the start of the season there, that was actually the first time that we had kept a clean sheet against them since this match. That blew my mind. Sorry, I tell a lie actually. We've got the game, the last time we actually beat them in the league there, which was on the 10th of November 2018, but that's away from home, to be fair. So the last time, sorry, we kept a clean sheet at home was this particular match where we won 2-0. But aye, the last time we'd beat them away, I know we're not talking about away matches, but just since I brought it up, that was unfortunately in the doomed 18-19 season. That was 1-0, 10th of November, and it was Zach Rudden that scored with about 20 minutes left to go in that match. But aye, keep my clean sheet against Dunfermline, not something that we've made much of a habit of late, which makes the win on the 10th of August of this year all the more surprising. Just a reminder as well, it's a good match, that one. It's more even than some people probably remember, though. Dunfermline did actually have their chances in that. I know there's maybe a bit of revisionist history because their season has been so shockingly bad so far, but there were times where they could have scored. They had a big chance to make it one each, and it was only with like 2 or 3 minutes left when we got the penalty. McKeever scores early, and then Morrison gets the penalty late on. So, in terms of on the Falkirk side of things, there was a few announcements as well that, in terms of the injuries, that there's nothing new to report for a lot of the folk that are still out. You know, your Cole Donaldsons, your Tom Langs, your Sean Mackeys. Unfortunately, Mackey's going to be out a wee bit longer than we were kind of hoping. We were maybe hoping like a week or two more, but the confirmation is that it might still be about 3 or 4 weeks. It's a bit of a blow. Donaldson might still be out for a wee bit longer yet, and we're still talking possibly 7-8 weeks with Big Tam Lang. In terms of Jamie Snedden as well, he's still going to be out for a wee bit yet. But here's the thing, I wonder, when we signed Jamie Snedden, did we sign him to be the number one? Because if you recall, he did play early on, and I wasn't all that impressed, to be perfectly honest. And I think that maybe the signing of him has given Nicky the right kick up the arse, and he's really taking his game to a new level. I'm not convinced that when Jamie Snedden's fully fit again, that he even gets back into the team, to be honest. But I can't help but wonder if his expectation when he was signed was to be the number one keeper, or if it was there is no number one keeper and it's down to who impresses the most. But anyway, I digress on that side of things. But yeah, the big news, and the news that I'm really, really excited to talk about, is Ross McKeever is finally back. He took part in light training earlier in this week. All went good. And he took part in full-time training on Thursday. All went good as well, and the hope from Smudger anyway is that as long as he got through the training earlier today, that he would be available for selection as long as there's no issues going into Friday, which we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But if he is available, that is fantastic news, because it really does feel like since we've been without him that we've really been trying to put a square peg into a round hole. We've had mixed results with that. You know, Shanley's had a couple of chances, he's not really taken them. We've had Gary Oliver, he's an interesting one when he plays up top, isn't he? Because it feels like the fan base is quite split. I felt like he played alright the other night at Hamilton, and then other people said he was shocking, and I feel like every time he plays up top, that is how it goes. People either think he's doing alright or think he's doing terrible. I thought he was alright. Some of his positioning's a bit questionable. Like I said in my last video as well, he was back at left back spot at some points. Like, what are you doing, mate? Like, we need you scoring goals. But anyway, with Ross McKeever back, it's such a huge relief to have him back. And it's crazy to think as well. Sorry, another wee tangent here, right? But it's crazy to think that at points last season, he was really unappreciated. And think back to the way that folk viewed Ross McKeever, and here I'm guilty as well. I'll hold my hands up and admit this straight away, and hopefully a lot of other folk are big enough to do it as well. I questioned going into this season with Ross McKeever leading the line. I thought we needed an upgrade over what he brought. And I wasn't saying I wanted rid of him or anything, but I was like, if we want to keep him, that's absolutely fine, but we need somebody else in. It's going to be said that Ross McKeever's really, really stepped up this season. He looks about twice the player that he was last season. And it's such a testament to the hard work that he's put in that every single match day since he got that injury against Celtic, his name's getting mentioned, and we're all just so desperate to see him back. I really, really hope that he does play on Saturday and he gets the hero's welcome that he deserves, because let's not forget that performance he put in against Celtic was probably his best performance in a Falkirk shirt, and if he keeps that up, I think we might do alright this season. As I mentioned, there's still other injuries, so if he comes back in, it maybe takes a wee bit of the burden off, because we're still going to be without Callum Morrison for a wee while. We all got our hopes up when he came on against, was it Livingston? But it doesn't look like he's going to be featuring anytime soon, which is hugely frustrating. But you've got to remember, we've still got Ethan Ross, who is just on absolute fire now, and you've got Calvin Miller, who is finally starting to look quite comfortable on the right wing. Took a wee while, but he's finally getting there, and he's looking a bit more comfortable with cutting in and shooting, which, my God, we need. Because the issue that we might have going into this game, right, is that I think that Dunfermline are going to want to keep things tight. They're going to want to play defensively and try and contain us. We better get used to it, Bairns, because this is going to be every single game going forward, and it's a huge compliment. It's the biggest compliment that teams can pay to us, that they want to stop us playing rather than trying to impose their own style on the game, because if they try and go toe to toe with us, they will get destroyed. And that's no arrogance. It's practically a fact at this point that we are the best footballing team in this league. Does that mean that we're going to win the league? No, because just because you're the best footballing team doesn't mean anything. You've just got to look at, just pulling an example out of thin air here, the Celtic team in the 90s under Tommy Burns won all kinds of plaudits for how well they played. But remember, they couldn't get the job done against us when we were in the lower league, and Burns lost his job as well. Playing good football doesn't necessarily mean you win things, but if we keep this going, I don't see why we can't. But when it comes to the way teams are setting up, they are just going to be setting up to stop us playing and frustrate us. And sometimes you can see, and it's no every game, but there are times where we do struggle a wee bit with that, and maybe a wee bit reluctant to shoot, and maybe a bit, sometimes, I don't want to say one-dimensional or that, but sometimes we maybe resort to just lumping balls into the box, and see teams without set up defensively, that's meat and drink to them. Like they'll deal with that all day long. What we do so well is that we start games fast. We start with purpose. We start with wanting to get the ball forward and create chances as early as possible. And it just feels like there's a trend in a lot of games where, see, if we score an early goal, we're fine. There's none of this needing a goal with 15 minutes to go or something like that. When we score a goal early, generally speaking, we impose ourselves on the game and we go on to win. And a lot of the time it's comfortable. The thing that I love about this team, though, is they keep going and they keep going and then they keep going even more, and that it's no surprise that we score so many late goals as well, because we've got that belief that even when teams do try and sit in against us, that they're not going to frustrate us and they're going to keep going. Now, Livingston managed to get away with one. I still maintain they should have came away for Falkirk with a 1-0 loss, because that ball wasn't out of play, no chance. But what Dunfermline will do going into this game, and this is going to be their major hope, is that they can frustrate us and keep it tight and no lose a goal early, and then try and get a wee bit of joy on the counter, because as you all know, we're no shy in committing men forward. I mean, half the time you'll see our centre halves near the halfway line. If Dunfermline are brave enough to leave a couple of guys up to win the ball on the counter, they could still cause us problems. And as I mentioned earlier, when it comes to pressure and that, it's kind of, I'm not sure where I fall on this, because whilst Dunfermline maybe don't have pressure in the sense that nobody's expecting them to win, as I've mentioned, eventually there's going to be questions asked about McPake. They're going to need to start winning football matches, and what better way for them to turn their season around and really kickstart things than a statement win against their rivals in a game that nobody gave them a prayer in. So make no mistake that they will go into this game feeling they've got a lot to prove. But at the same time, if we play to our best and we get an early goal, I do genuinely fear for Dunfermline in this game. I think that if we get an early goal and impose ourselves, this could be the first proper humping of the season. And I don't think there's many who would disagree with that. I think that even your level-headed Dunfermline supporters will surely recognise that the only chance they've got is by keeping it 0-0 for as long as possible. If they lose an early goal, I think that they could be in for a proper doing. So that leads me to my match predictions then. I'm going to go with, I think that we'll manage to keep them out, and I'm going to go with 3-0 Falkirk. I think that we will win this game, and I think that we'll do so with a wee bit of style as well, and give somebody a bit of a doing in the process as well. What do you think will happen? Let me know in the comments down below, and if you enjoy the videos as well, if you haven't done so already, if you could please remember to like and subscribe, and also share the video with anybody else that's not aware of the channel. It's really greatly appreciated. Helps get as more people talking about Falkirk as well, which is always really nice. But nothing else I've really got to say on this particular video. As I've mentioned before as well, I'll be back on most likely Sunday with the reaction video, and hopefully a wee happy bairn on that particular video, and then I'll most likely upload the AGM video on Sunday as well, so I'll just do a double dunter then. But I'll probably, well, when I say I'll record it, sorry, on Sunday, I'll probably no actually upload that one until Monday. I want to give you a wee bit of a break for this ugly mug, at least a wee bit. That's the least I can do for you. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope you all take care of yourselves and have an absolutely fantastic Saturday when it comes, and moan the bairns.